Hello, welcome to Moist Nougat. I am the kid. I'm going to pick up a little bit from where I left off last week. My wife and I have committed to quit smoking starting Monday. So basically, when we get up Monday, we are not going to have any more cigarettes. I'm trying something different. I'm not using a nicotine patch. I'm probably going to chew a lot of gum and suck on hard candy or whatever. But this thing called Sigtris, it's an inhaler. It's not a vape. There's no vapor that comes out. There's no nicotine. There's no tobacco. It's just basically, supposedly, I don't know. They came today in the mail, and we're gonna try them out Monday. And basically, it's just it's more of a hand to mouth thing for me. Is going to be big because I think I can get through the nicotine withdrawals or whatever they say. I don't know. There's like any serious withdrawals from quitting nicotine, but other than just being an asshole, which I'm probably going to be. I'm just warning you that next week might be just a fucking rant. I'm going to try to document daily how I feel each day, which I keep forgetting to write that down, so I'm going to do it right now. But yeah, these Sigtris things, they're supposed to be all natural. There's no air. I mean, it's just air, and there's like some like flavor, whatever. Like you just get like some spearmint or some peppermint. So it's not going to be like smoking a cigarette, but it's the same motion, hand to mouth motion. And so we're going to give it a shot. I said that I wasn't making resolutions this year. I was making decisions, and I've made this decision. I want to quit smoking. And I'll move on from that, and I'll let you know how I'm doing. The Broncos lost last week, 27-14. Their 8th straight loss to the fucking Raiders. I didn't even watch the second half. I didn't even watch the entire second quarter because I could just tell the way they were playing. It was just they were flat. It was like nobody even wanted to fucking be there, and I knew that it was not going to be a good night. I was so hoping they were going to pull it out and have a fucking winning season, but no, they blew it, and we ended up with another losing season. 7 straight losing seasons. The 8th straight loss to the fucking Raiders, which just fucking. I mean, we finally broke the monkey's back and beat the Chiefs, but we didn't. We lost 2 to the fucking Raiders this season. Funny that I'm looking at my notes and doing. I was talking about whether, like nearsighted and farsighted. I am nearsighted. Nearsighted basically means that you can focus on things up close but not far away. And farsighted or farsightedness, or however they, for some reason it's nearsighted and far sightedness or something different, is the opposite. They have trouble focusing on things up close but can see things far away. So my initial, what I was talking about was correct. This week I'm getting into something that's another thing that I talked about was that I was going to start playing the drums again. And damn it, I can't clear my throat for some reason tonight. It might require another sip of wine. I have to take the glasses off for a few minutes because I'm working on an invention that, because, when you're farsighted, you can do this. because now I can see above my glasses and I can see everything out there. My glasses are sitting on the edge of my nose. I always forget that I'm doing this. I'm dating myself. I'm recording this, recording video of this. Boy, I'm backing myself into a fucking corner here. But anyways, so I have my glasses pulled down to the end of my nose so I can look over my glasses. And I have to remember that I'm doing more of a radio broadcast, and people that watch the video can see what I'm doing, so I don't have to explain it to you. But this is a podcast after all. But yeah, I can see over my glasses, and then I could look down at my notes and be able to see them because I can't see close up without my glasses. Now, as somebody that's nearsighted, it's the exact opposite. So I need my glasses to do like the opposite. I need them to sit up higher so when I look out and then when I look down. So I'm working on something that makes my glasses, actually just having the hat, that actually works. Just having the hat, they're kind of, and the headphones are kind of holding them up. So not quite as good, but it does work. But anyways, like I was saying, totally off track. I was talking about quitting smoking, and I was talking about playing the drums again. And so I really want to play the drums, get playing the drums again for exercise reasons, and they're here. And so I thought it would be fun to talk about the best and worst things about being a drummer. Now, I'm not currently out there doing this, so like if I was, I'd probably have 1,000 things on each side. But I'm going back to my days playing, and I mean, the number one thing, the best thing about being a drummer is like, come on, chicks fucking dig drummers, man. They just do. It's just the way it is. I'm kind of kidding with that one, but I had to throw it in there. I just had to. Really, it's fun to fucking hit things. I mean, who doesn't like fucking hitting things? And so you like if you're stressed out or you're pissed off, you can sit down behind the kit and you can just, because you're hitting everything. You're hitting and you're kicking with the drums, and so it's a good way to get some aggression out. And it's just fucking fun, man. You hit something that makes a loud noise, and it's just a lot of fun. On the downside, I'm going to kind of go back and forth here, and these aren't in any order specifically of importance or whatever. It's just what came to my mind when I was writing my notes down. As a drummer, it really sucks moving your kit, you know, having to tear it down, take it to a gig, set up, get everything set up. Because, you never feel like, it's like kind of when you're driving your car and somebody else drives it and you feel like you'd never get your seat back the exact same way it was. That's kind of how it feels as a drummer, unless you have everything just like you have some sort of science or a drum tech that has a science. But yeah, it sucks moving them. It's not like a guitar player who has an amp. You know, it might be a stack, which isn't easy to move, but it's like, you have like 1, 2, 3 pieces, and then your guitar, and maybe a box of cables and shit. So as a drummer, it's just so many pieces and parts, and you got to put your cymbals in a case, and you got to put your drums in cases, and then you got all the hardware and everything else, and it's a lot of work, especially when, like, you got some buddies that are like, yeah, just bring the kid over, we'll jam. And it's like, I got to tear it all down, carry it all to my car, drive to your house, carry it all in, set it all up, tear it all down, carry it back to my car, drive home, carry it all back in the house, and set it all back up. where you walk in with your fucking practice amp and your guitar, and that's it, man. Or singers, basically, I don't even think they carry their own fucking microphones. They expect somebody else to have it already set up when they show up for practice, or the gig or whatever. I'm just kidding. I mean, everybody has their place in a band for sure, but singers do have it the easiest because they have a microphone and a cable to carry. It also sucks cleaning the drums because there's so many. I mean, it's satisfying when you're done and they're all shiny and all that, but there's so much to clean. It's not like just cleaning the guitar, or your trumpet or whatever. I mean, there's just, and it's hard to get in all the little crevices, and so there's a lot of cleaning that can be involved with drums. But like I said, when they're all shiny, the drums are literally the coolest looking instrument there is. There's not a cooler instrument on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. A shiny set of drums with some cool lights shining on them and reflecting off the chrome. Nothing cooler. And just on a side note with that is North drums. And if you never saw a set of North drums, look them up. They're just so cool. They were just single-headed drums, but they came down almost like a horn. They were just cool. Dan Lee had a set, and we probably talked about it on the podcast before. Coolest sounded drums, and man, they sounded great too. They really did. But like I said, I mean, the drums are just the coolest looking. I mean, I can appreciate a cool looking guitar or bass or, whatever, but ultimately the drums are just the cool. I mean, it just looks like a machine almost. There's so many pieces and bends and angles, and I'm looking at my drums right now, and they're dusty as fuck. But it does. I could clean them tonight when I'm done with this, and tomorrow afternoon they'd be covered with dust again because this house is just so dusty. But they are just the coolest fucking looking instrument there is. I can't think of another instrument that even holds a match to how cool the drums look. Something else that drummers can do that nobody else can do is you can play anytime you want. You don't need your drums. I play all the time when I'm driving my car, tapping on the steering wheel, the dash, my legs. You can tap on your legs, tap on the table. I'm not going to do it so it doesn't, bounce off the mic. But, I mean, you can tap on anything. You can finger tap, you can hand tap, you can, so you don't have to have your drums with you necessarily to play the music in your personal whatever. I mean, you're not going to play in a band playing on your knees, obviously. And you always have a seat. I mean, if you play a drum set or drum kit, you're sitting down to play. I mean, a lot of percussionists will stand up and play Latin percussion and whatnot. But yeah, you always have a seat. So when everybody else is standing up and you're talking and you're trying to figure out, you're still in a seat. And if you're lucky enough to be able to afford a decent throne, it's a comfortable seat. So, but one of the downsides of drums is that you can't turn them down. There's no volume knob. And you play the way you play. I mean, you can back off a little bit, but if you're a heavy hitter, you're not going to be able to play to your potential if you're trying to play at like a quarter volume. It just doesn't work. It's just not how it works. People that don't play the drums or percussion instruments think you can. Just play softer. It doesn't work that way. It's like telling a guitar player The only thing I can think of that would be equivalent is because the guitar picks, there's different thickness and they have more or less bend depending on the thickness, and a guitar player has a preference on what kind of picks they like. And it's like saying you like really thin picks, but we need to be played with a very thick pick. They're not going to be able to, it's just not going to work the same way. It's just not. So people that tell drummers to turn down, go fuck yourselves. Put some earplugs in. Or fucking leave the room or whatever. Don't tell a drummer to turn down. Ever. Another downside to being a drummer, if you care, if you're really into the limelight, you're stuck in the back. And like I'm just so used to drummers being in the back, but usually center stage though, not stage left, stage right. I mean, the singer and the drummer are center stage normally. The drummer just looks a lot cooler than the singer does. It's just the way it is. Drummers just look cooler than singers. I know. I'm grabbing at straws here. This is stuff that I just wrote down. Another positive thing is the drummers is the motor of the band. You drive the tempo, you drive the, could be a downside if your timing sucks, but if you're, halfway solid drummer, and when I say halfway solid drummer, I don't mean like all these TikTok videos you're seeing now with all these drummers that play 1,000 miles an hour and they're doing, kudos, they're excellent drummers. I can't do that shit. But it doesn't work in a song. It just doesn't. You don't need to be playing everything constantly through an entire fucking 5-minute song. It muddies it. It just dilutes. Well, muddies and dilutes are almost opposites, but it just, I'd much rather hear somebody just playing a straightforward beat that fits the song than somebody that's playing, 1,000 things that just kind of, the song, it doesn't flow. Yeah, you are the motor. You are, if you're in a shitty mood and you want to play the song that's supposed to be, 150 beats per minute or whatever, and you want to play it at 298 beats per minute, everybody's pretty much going to have to follow you for the most part. That can be a good or a bad thing. Downside is everything's expensive, so I don't want to, but I don't know what a pack of guitar strings, I don't know what any of it costs nowadays, because I'm going to find out soon enough what drum stuff costs. I know cymbals are expensive, and that cymbals are so fucking expensive now, ridiculously expensive. That was really the main thing that held me back from selling my kit, was that I have a whole shit ton of cymbals, and I'm never going to get the money out of these cymbals, because somebody would look at this kit and maybe like I don't know, I hard to put a price tag on it, because shell packs are inexpensive and you can buy hardware fairly reasonable, but cymbals are just ridiculous. Like I have a Zildjian Z-Ride over there, which they probably don't even make anymore, but if they did, that's probably like a $600 cymbal. But heads are expensive. You generally don't have to change your heads a lot. I mean, depends on what kind of head you use and what kind of money you have. I know that, a lot of the professional drummers use like batter heads, which is a thinner head, but you get a really good sound out of them. but they're thinner and they don't hold up. So they're changing their. I mean, touring drummers are probably their heads are probably getting changed after every gig. At least top end touring drummers. But yeah, like a 12-inch tom head is probably like for the ones that I want. I have no idea, but they're probably going for $20-25 now. So you're looking at $400 just to put, or $100 just to put heads on the top, and that's not if you want to change out the bottom heads. But it's a necessary evil. Guitar player needs to buy strings, and bass player needs to buy strings, and another positive of being a drummer is it's good exercise. And that's why I want to start playing again. I don't need an exercise machine. I don't need to go out and buy a stationary bike or a treadmill. I've got the coolest and most fun exercise machine sitting right here. I just need to do it. I just need to get back there and fucking do it. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more fun than sitting there watching TV, riding a bike. Put the headphones on, play the drums to some songs you dig, and you're getting good exercise. And I actually missed that at the beginning. Speaking of that, I was talking about it last week. Is drumming considered low or high impact? Because I feel like it's it can be a little taxing on your body, especially if you're a heavy hitter. But it is considered low impact in most cases, I guess. Everything that I found, it's a good cardio workout if you get your heartbeat up. But it's low impact because it's a little bit less, less wear and tear on your joints. But I disagree to a degree depending on what kind of music and how hard you play. I feel like drumming is just as physical as some sports. Like running. I get running is considered high impact because you're banging your feet, running, bang, bang, bang. Especially if you're on concrete or pavement. So I understand what they're saying. You're sitting down, so whatever. It's considered a low impact workout. It's also excellent for your coordination. I'm not going to get into the whole, because I'm not a huge counter. I never have been. I play feel and by ear. I don't read music. So I'm not going to get into the whole mathematical thing. But for some super technical drummers, they're basically mathematicians. But it's great for your coordination because you're using all your extremities. And if you're lucky enough to figure it out and execute it properly, they may all be working in different rhythms all at once. So it's very good for coordination. What else do I have here? Another downside to being drummers, a lot of guitar players, they have 5 or 6 guitars. They have an acoustic and they have 5 or 6 electric guitars, and unless you have a really big fucking house, you're not going to have 5, 6, 7, 8 kits. You're just not. Maybe 2, and maybe you have a kit that you have at home, your practice kit, and then you have your gig kit. But I've seen videos where they're just stacks of drums, and it's like, yeah, that's awesome. But most people don't have that luxury. They don't have the place to store all the extra drums. Now, it would be awesome. I'd love it. I want to play green drums this week, so you get them all set up and you play your green drums this week. And next week, I want to play, my orange drums, and so you do that. But most people don't have that luxury. Another downside is you can't just bring your kid along anywhere, and I think I may have touched on that. You can't just, how hard it is to tear it down and move it and set it up and tear it down and move it back, but we used to hang out at a coffee shop, and a lot of times a couple guys would bring their acoustic guitars and stuff like that, and they'd sit out there and play, and it'd be fun just to be able to, and I know they make percussive instruments where, you can't just carry them around, but you also have to, it's like almost like learning a different instrument, because playing a drum kit is different than playing a cajon or, bongos or anything like that. It's really completely, I mean, same principle, but, it's different. Another positive is, like I said, all the percussive instruments. There's, steel drums and timbales and there's just so many percussive instruments. The piano is actually a percussive instrument. So if you have the money to dabble and buy, some of these neat instruments, it's fun. I have a cheap set of bongos that I've never been able to master. I don't have a Latin flair, but I have them, and I notice a lot that exact same set of bongos I have is like the newest thing. Everybody's like mounting them and hitting them with sticks now. And I'd love to be able to do that, except the goddamn mount for the fucking thing is like $200. So, but the last thing I got for the best things is Animal, the Muppets. Animal. Drummers get to claim Animal as their own, is one of their peoples. Guitar players, nobody else does. Animal is a drummer. And that is like a super cool thing to be able to, Animal is the coolest, man. And he was actually, supposedly anyways, Keith Moon was the inspiration for Animal, which makes a lot of sense if you know the drummer from The Who. Total nut job, man. Guy was great and crazy at the same time. But yeah, Animal. All hell Animal. That's all I got for the best and worst of being a drummer. Like I said, if I was currently playing in a band or something like that, or even just playing, I'll revisit this down the road once I get back into it. There'll definitely be probably some more pros and cons of being a drummer, or the best and worst of being a drummer. But I wanted to talk about some of the coolest inventions for the drums. And I know there's a lot of stuff out there now that I can't really speak on because I don't know. I haven't tested it. I haven't used it. I don't know. I've seen things and I'm like, that's interesting and this and that. But for me, I mean, obviously the kick pedal, you're going back to like the 1800s when somebody figured that out. But the double kick pedal was really cool because before the double kick pedal, and I don't know when the double kick pedal came out, but there was a time when it was cheaper to have two bass drums than it was to have a double kick pedal. And now I have a single kick, and I still like the double bass setup. I think it's really cool to have the double kicks, but it condenses the size of the kit a little bit. You don't have to have this spread out wide kit. So the double kick pedal was a cool thing. You could play double bass, but only have one bass drum. And also on that note, until I come out with my invention for these fucking glasses, I'm just gonna have to keep them off. The cable hi hat. Back when I had a big huge double bass set with 2 rack toms and on each bass drum and 2 floor toms, and the cable hi-hat was cool because you could have a second set of hi-hats. You could mount them over on the right side of your kit but still have the pedal over on your left, and it was a cable. And I'm actually, the cable hi-hat is actually what I have hooked up, but I've just got the cable kind of wound up because the way my set, I need some stuff. I need a legless snare stand, which basically mounts to your rack, and it's just one pole that goes down and touches the floor. That gives you more room for your pedals. That's a cool invention. And they also have a 2-legged hi-hat stand, which is another cool invention. Instead of having 3 legs and then the foot pedal, it's 2 legs, and the foot pedal actually works as like a third leg, and that frees up a little more space for pedals and whatnot. So there's some really cool inventions. I just don't have the money for them right now. The cable clutch for double bass players. Back in the day with your hi-hat, you raised your top hi-hat up, a little bit and screwed it down, and that's where it was, and the foot pedal brought it up and down. But then when people started using double kick, sometimes they wanted their hi-hats open. They had their left foot on the hi-hat pedal, and then you wanted to move over to double bass. Well, you couldn't unscrew that and drop it down. Otherwise, your hi-hats would just be wide open. I mean, you'd be getting a lot of... So they made a clutch where you could just tap it with your stick and it would drop the top hi-hat down. So now they were closed. Really neat invention. One that I've, used a lot. Racks. Drum racks. My kit has a drum rack. It's my second drum rack. I had a drum rack for my double kick kit. It was a single. I always thought like the monster racks. There was a layer, and then it went up, and your cymbals all were mounted on the rack on top. They were always so cool. But talk about moving shit and taking shit down. What a pain in the ass that had to be. Because the racks are just my little rack is hard enough. Unless you have like a truck, like a trailer that you can, you just pick the rack up and carry it out and set it in. It takes 2 people to carry it, and you don't even have to take your drums off the thing. But yeah, drum racks, super cool, super cool. It just you don't have to have all the stands. Everything mounts to the rack, so you don't have all the tripods. And there's been some hokey fucking things. I just saw a video the other day on TikTok where the guy was like, like if you drop your sticks, and it's like this thing that goes around the stick and then it goes around your finger, and like so you can't drop your stick. And I'm like, that's all cool and everything. Number one, it would feel fucking weird. Number two, what happens if your stick breaks? Like, how the fuck do you get the goddamn thing off to grab another stick? And number three, hold them tighter. Like, if you're that much of a fucking wimp and you can't hold the fucking sticks, then, start playing fucking something else. I don't know. See, I'm already getting to be irritable, and I haven't even quit smoking yet. So just imagine what it's going to be like on Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. If I could make it all the way till next weekend when I do the podcast, maybe I'll be okay. I don't know. But that will be the first time I have a glass of wine or beer or something like that, because I only drink on Saturdays or one day a week, basically. I'll have a few drinks, and usually it's podcast day, because it's my day that I'm just kind of having fun and kicking back and enjoying life. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyways, moving on from that. Like I said, there was some hokey fucking things. I never did even take a sip of my wine. I will say electronic drums were a very cool invention. I had a high-end set of Yamaha electronic drums. Never quite really liked them, because they were just, it was too much. I mean, they were nice, and when I bought them, they were like top of the line. They've come so far now with electronic drums. Hell, they make electronic drums that look like acoustic drums. But I would consider getting electronic drums again. Only problem is I would need to get into like a professional grade setup, and you're looking at like $5,000 just to get started. So like the $400 electronic drum set it's a fucking toy to me. I have no interest in those. I was looking at some websites just to see like the pros and cons and the best inventions and that and this and that. And somebody came up with like a drum machine, and I'd like to punch the fucker right in the balls, because drum machines aren't a cool invention for drummers. I mean, you're taking the drummer's job away with a drum machine, so go fuck yourself with that. Drum pads have come a long ways. I've still got the first drum pad that Dana Lee got me back when I was a kid. It's got like the gray, it looks like a freaking miniature drum, basically, but just not, there's no depth to it. Actually had a drum head on it, and but now they got the, like the pads that are gel. Like I've got a small one. I bought Dana Lee a bigger one several years ago, and he just loves the damn thing. And sticks, and I won't say that. I mean, I'm sure sticks have come a long ways since the beginning, but there's just a lot more options out there now, and seemed like when I was first playing all the time, your Pro Marks or whatever, they always had the shellac or whatever you want to call it. They were slippery if you got sweaty. And then they finally started like not putting that on there, and they had unfinished sticks, and that to me was just fabulous, because they'd almost stick to your hands better when your hands got a little sweaty, because there was no varnish on there. It was just wood and skin, and let's see, stick holders and drink holders and stuff like that mount right onto like your rack or a stand. Those are pretty cool. Back in the day, you just had to like lay them on top of your bass drum, a couple sticks over here and a couple sticks over there. So if you broke a stick or lost a stick, you just grab another one. I still think that's probably the best way, because they're just right there. But now they make like stick depots, and where you can adjust them so they're not like right together, so it's easier to grab one. And they also make like drink holders or whatever, so water bottle or something like that, it fits right in it. You don't have to like bend all the way down to get it. And just a lot of neat little inventions that have made life easier for drummers. And of course the drum stools or drum thrones, whatever you want to call them, have come a long ways. They started putting, making them with small backs on them, so kind of took a little off your back. Now I don't have one. I've never used one. I'd love to try one, but I have a nice drum throne. It's kind of like a bicycle seat, kind of like a motorcycle seat almost. Never sure if I actually like that better than just the old school round ones. But it's pretty comfortable to sit on. You don't really notice it when you're playing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I there's so many things. There's something I'm actually considering buying. It's called Moon Gel. It's been around forever. It's like little sticky gel things that you can stick on the heads to dampen the sound. People talk about what a pain in the ass it is. You have no, use duct tape and this and that. It's like, well, every musician's got duct tape in their toolbox. And it was never that big of a deal to do it. I get it. Maybe aesthetically it's not the most pleasing, but nobody's really seeing it anyways. But the Moon Gel, I don't know. They say it works pretty good and it's reusable and it lasts for a long time. So considering buying some of that just to try it out and see. There's some aftermarket things that I think if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to go with the Moon Gel, the one and only True Blue Moon Gel. I don't know. I can't think of a whole lot of other things. Like I said, I've been out of the game for a long time. I don't have a lot of like quality. I mean, I've got a lot of recordings. Like we used to record our rehearsals all the time, just in case something cool happened. We'd have it on tape, and I'm talking cassette tapes, which are making a comeback now. But wait 20 years and see what they sound like. But one of the bands I was in, probably one of the most important bands I was ever in, and we didn't do anything super fucking fantastic, and the band broke up like bands do. But it was the only band that I ever went into like a professional type studio, and we recorded a single. I think Dan Lee and I talked about it or whatever. Snowstorm the day we were going to record and all that. But I will play one of those songs at the end of this podcast instead of putting the intro. So if you want to listen to it, that's me playing the drums. It's a long time ago. It's nothing fucking super fantastic. I'm not the best drummer in the world. I wasn't back then. And physically, I was in a lot better shape, and my chops were at least somewhat there. After all these years, and now this is circa 1991 when this was recorded, so you're going back a ways. But I'm still proud of it. It was fun, and so if you want to check it out, I'm not gonna play both songs. Like I said, it was a single, one song on one side, one song on the other. But the band was called Asylum, or named Asylum. That was the name of our band, and we, had a song called Asylum, and that was kind of like our, first fucking single. So, anyways, I'm going to call this one an episode because I'm getting ready to watch some fucking football. And like I said, if you want to listen to the song, stay tuned and it'll play right after. But thanks for listening. I am the Kid, and we'll catch you next time.
Here